I added a little more to the I don't know what you could call it, the 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 joystick program where I think yesterday it was one joystick would move one sprite, but now it's two joysticks that can move. Oops, very good frame there. They can move two sprites at the same time, and it's still treating off like which direction the sprites are going and the joysticks, so it can detect up and right and down and all that, and then the button, but the button does nothing. So anyway, yeah, two sprites now. They can't actually do anything or other than just move all around the screen. The code for it, nice pan there. The code for it is pretty simple. I just made to set the register to set the accumulator to 16 bits and then the index registers to 16 bits. I made this little macro, which seems to be pretty readable, at least for me. Probably no one else. And basically, if you go up, it increments the variable with the sprite, or the word with the sprite position. Let's see what else. And I put in a little joystick handler ASM file. The macros are kind of work in progress. The little, probably not fancy by any means for what can be done with a macro, but I made it. Let's see, let's find some macros here that are so that it so one macro can handle multiple things. Like this one can handle both bitmaps instead of just one of the bitmaps. So you tell it which bitmap number, and then it will take that number and multiply it by 8, since the two bitmap control, I guess, areas, segments, whatever you want to call them, are separated by 8 bytes. So if you want to get to the addresses for the second bitmap, you just add, you multiply 8 by the number of the bitmap you want to access to jump ahead to the address, the bitmap that you want to, ironically here, the address that you want to set the address at. And then again, I've got this little macro that sets it to an 8-bit accumulator and a 16-bit index. I went through a bunch of different names for this macro, and this one just seemed like the one I could understand at 2 in the morning, so I kept it. There's the main program. I kind of started with Tetris and then removed pieces I didn't really need for two joysticks moving 2 sprites. I kind of wanted to redo the whole thing just so I could understand how it works instead of using the existing stuff, although some of the existing stuff I'm using. So let's see. So I set the bitmap memory. I pointed to pretty much what it's probably already pointing to, the, what is it, B0000. And it turns on both bitmaps, even though they're not both being used. Loads the palette. The image, let's see, the palette gets loaded here, and then the sprite image is loaded only once because both sprites point to the same image. Hopefully this is legible in this video. Let's see, the sprite memory is set to same place as the bitmap memory, which will be a problem later on. Let's see, the sprite controls are set, and this one's another little upgraded macro where you can just set the number of the sprite right here, and one macro will handle all the sprites unless they're more sprites added later or somewhere else in memory. Let's see. So the sprites will start off at 64 hex. Don't really want to convert that to decimal at the moment in my head. I was testing a little kernel routine that would check for a character but not wait for one. Ironically, I have it waiting for one in the loop here, but anyway, I commented that out because I'm not using that right now. The other thing was joystick events. This is not the fastest way to do it, and I'm sure it's not the best, because if you could paste a macro and use it as a parameter for a macro, that would be probably faster than this. But anyway, the joystick events macro takes in the memory location, I believe, of these subroutines. So you can, and this is kind of tedious when you look at every possible position the joystick could have, but there's a subroutine for all of them, and basically the macro takes that in and can call those subroutines based on which direction the joystick is going, and or if the button's down. And then this enforce limits line just makes sure that the X and the Y don't go outside the visible boundaries on the screen. I'm using the pixel doubler, basically the 320 by 240 resolution. So the top 32 pixels and the left 32 pixels of the screen are hidden, so you can hide a sprite in there to get it off screen. Let's see, and then there's the sprite position macro, which sets the sprites at whatever XY place. And then there's the game loop, and it runs over and over again to move that sprite around based on where the joystick is. I'll show you the joystick events. Granted, I'm sure everyone else already knows how to do all this stuff, but it's new for me. Joystick direction. Just do the old control F. There we go. Okay. So these are JSLs. Everything I'm doing is a long jump just for simplicity for me, so I don't have to figure out whether or not it's near or far on everything. So it will, let's see, I don't know, this code should even be shown because I'm sure it's not the best way to do it. But anyways, you can see it takes in up JSL and jumps there. So anyway, it's kind of nice. It I don't know, you still have to type the body of the code, so maybe this is kind of silly. I mean, maybe just have a macro as a template to copy and paste places and stick the code in it, but yeah. I don't think it actually saves any code. So that's where it is today. It's not exactly a game yet. It's more like an API for a future game or a program.